Hey guys, have you heard of this game called Among Us? It's super funny and fun, and red sus, red sus. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Red sus. Among Us is a game. If you didn't know that, you have been living a good life, and that makes you sus. But anyway, Among Us is a game that not to be rude, I didn't expect for it to last this long in popularity. Like, Fall Guys, I knew for a fact that was going to be a good game for like 3 months, and it would just vanish. And I have not seen a single Fallout Guys video in my recommended in months. You know, it's beautiful. The thing about a popular game is that everyone plays it, and all of a sudden, you can't get away from it. Sure, it might be fun for a little while, but after you see the 80th billionth video, you've seen basically everything. There's nothing too interesting about it anymore. And Among Us has reached that point where it is starting to decline slightly. Now, I like Among Us, and I think that's an unpopular opinion these days, and I don't know why, but I think Among Us is a perfect example of a good game. It is a good, simple game. However, with my big brain, any game can be enhanced. And I understand that the people that make Among Us are an incredibly small team, and I don't expect them to pump out maps and updates on like a weekly to monthly basis. As someone who has done the minimal amount of programming and game design as I plan to make video games in the future, I know for a fact that doing that can be incredibly difficult, especially with such a small team. But this series of Let's Fix is a hypothetical. This is what I would do if I had creative control over Among Us. So in this series, if you didn't know, subscribe to my channel. If you subscribed already without me having to tell you, you are awesome. And if you're feeling bad about not subscribing, you can do it now and you won't be sent to the great depths. Okay? Okay. But anyway, the Let's Fix series is basically me taking a look at a game or a series or something that I think is good but could be better or could be improved or has a flaw, and I improve on it in my own way. I give my spin on the idea and what I would do with the game. But to figure out what's wrong with Among Us, we have to figure out what's wrong with Among Us. Hey guys, I said the same thing twice. Isn't that sus? The first problem is online lobbies are incredibly boring, and this is for several reasons. Number one, communication is poor. We need voice chat. That's just something that the game needs to survive a long time. Not everyone has a Discord group large enough to play a good game of Among Us, and not everyone is willing to go out of their way to get in a voice chat with a bunch of random strangers who they might not like. What this does is it incentivizes leaving. Leaving during the game is a massive thing. Every single time you join a random online lobby and you go into the game, guess what's going to happen? As soon as 3 or 4 people realize they're not imposter, they leave the game. Which of course is not a good thing, because now there are less players. Now, you could fix this by adding like player bots or something, but I think maybe just giving more incentive for players to stay even after they haven't got imposter. Another problem is the game is incredibly repetitive. Besides the player interactions, everything else is the same. There's no randomness. I mean, there's a little bit of randomness between the tasks, but there's barely any randomness that keeps you interested. There's not enough randomness that changes the entirety of the game. It's all about player interactions. And if the player interaction isn't fun, the game is just boring on its own. And I think a game needs to be both interesting on its own and interesting with player interaction, because if the player interaction is poor, there should still be a game for you to fall back on. A lack of roles also helps with this. Since there's only crewmate and imposter, once you play a few hundred games, you know what to do as crewmate or imposter. And sometimes it fucks up, sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't make it interesting. You've learned how to play the role, and now that's it. That's all you know. You know how to play the role, and that's it. It's done. Adding more roles would add more strategy to the game. Not just playing as the new roles, but playing around the new roles. As a crewmate, you want to know who is a neutral role that will help you and who is a neutral role that won't help you. You want to know what kind of imposter there is so you can have a different playstyle. Different roles that will change the majority of the player's playstyle will definitely make the game better for its longevity, because if you can change your playstyle and it's different every other game, then boom, congratulations, you have a more enticing experience. Lack of game modes is another thing that a lot of people talk about, and yeah, I mean, having tag and zombie would be fun, and I don't think it's a necessary step, but I think it would help a lot. So before we go in depth on how to fix these problems, yet again, let me just say, I am not speaking out of hate, or I'm not speaking out of visceral towards the creators or the game. I'm not telling them how to do their job. I'm just saying this is what I would do if I had creative control over Among Us. It's been my dream since I was younger to be a creative director, a creative designer, to not really have to do all the work, but to instead create a world around it, create balance, just kind of solve stuff, create a world and help create designs and make things more fun for the player. That is always what I've wanted to do, whether it be in film or YouTube or games. I always wanted to do something creative. So this series of Let's Fix is kind of filling that void for me of just basically standing from the sidelines and directing something that I don't actually have any effect on. Now, let's get into it. First of all, let's fix the repetitiveness of Among Us. And here are the 3 main problems of repetitiveness that I have found playing Among Us. First of all, there is a massive lack of things to do when you're dead. Being dead fucking sucks in Among Us. You can't do anything, you just have to do your tasks, nothing extra and fun. Let's fix that. The second thing is tasks. Tasks are repetitive and they are boring. There are just a limited amount of them, and easily in 2 games you can do them all and then like, well, okay, cool, you've done them all. Now it's just this chore to walk around and do these tasks. Like, I understand there are a background gameplay aspect, but like I said, when the player-to-player contact fails, there should be a game underneath it to capture you and keep you motivated to play. And 3, a lack of power as a crewmate. As a crewmate, you can't do anything. You are quite literally, your life hangs in the hands of whoever is imposter. Imposters have so much power. They can teleport across the map using vents, they can use sabotage, they can do all of that. What can crewmates do? They can do tasks and they can die. That's it. That's all crewmates can do. How do we fix these problems? Well, pretty easily. So, you died, huh? Well, that used to suck. But now, you have an afterlife. Poggers! What do we have in the afterlife? So the afterlife is basically just this area of the game where you go when you die. It has several little buildings that you can just do stuff when you're dead to pass the time. Like a school that you can go into and like learn how to do tasks faster, or a graveyard that allows you to like DM like already dead players, or say, hey, could you come play with me? Play with you, you may be saying. DecoyZ, what the fuck are you on about? That's pretty sus. Well, there will be an arcade in the afterlife, where there will be a bunch of mini games that you can play, both single player and multiplayer. So you can play maybe a little fighting game, like that's kind of built into the game, so you can just kind of pass the time as you're playing. So when you die, you're like, oh, well, I can't play this normal game, but I can play mini games, and I can do this and do that. Then there's the Fountain of Life, which basically brings you back to the original map and allows you to float around and see what other people are doing. So you don't have to follow people around and just look at everyone else, killing everyone else. You can stay in the afterlife, but if you want to go look at them, you can do that. You can see what's going on. But ghosts need an incentive to stay around. Fun minigames are only going to keep them, there for a little bit of time. I think ghosts need their own meeting. When the live people have a meeting, the ghosts should also convene and have a meeting. At this ghost meeting, you can now decide whether to do one of 3 things: buff, debuff, or cause a ghost sabotage. Or basically like a haunting or something. But what are these things? Well, you can buff a player, or you can debuff someone. Basically, a buff would basically give them ghostly protection. This means when the imposter attempts to kill that person, they get 1 free warning. Basically, the player doesn't die, and the imposter is informed that you could not kill them for whatever reason, and their kill cooldown is reset. However, the player is not informed that they have been guarded by ghosts, or that their guard has been broken until the next meeting. At the next meeting, if you have had ghostly protection and an imposter hasn't tried to kill you, it will say, last round you had ghostly protection. And if someone had tried to kill you, it said last round you did have ghostly protection, but someone broke it. So you know someone attempted to kill you, but they didn't succeed. This can give players a lot more power as to know who passed them and who could have tried to kill them. A debuff is the opposite of an angelic protection. Instead, it will give the player, like, negative effects. So if you give it to an imposter, that means that the debuffed imposter is also affected by stuff like sabotages, or, you know, like his vision goes down as well, or maybe they can't see color for a while, stuff like that. But what about these ghostly events? Well, before we get to that, what else can you do as a ghost? First of all, you can haunt someone. Now, if you haunt someone, this will notify the player that they have been haunted. This could be an easy way to tell if someone has been killed or not, because if someone haunts you, that means someone on the map is dead. I find this a bit weird that you can't, you know that someone killed someone. You can know in Polis, but you can't know in the rest of the maps. And, you know, I just think you should be able to somewhat, at least. I don't know. And you can also affect the world. Now, what this does is basically if 2 or more ghosts interact with an object like a door, they can open it. So ghosts can help with people trying to escape an imposter, so they can close the door on the imposter's face and open it for the crewmate. Now let's talk about these ghostly events. Basically your version of a sabotage that you can choose to do in your meetings. Now it's random whether you will have the ability to buff, debuff, or have a ghostly event. It's random. You are more likely to get the ability to buff someone, and you are least likely to get the ghostly event. But what are these events, you may be saying? Well, they only happen once per game, but they're pretty strong and they will definitely confuse the game. Ghost vision turns everyone to black and blue. You can't see anyone's color or anyone's name for a whole round. Phantom sounds makes people see and hear fake players and even see fake vent openings. This means you could see red, sus, walk past you, and then all of a sudden another red walks past you because one of those two are fake reds. And if you attack a fake player, you will lose your kill cooldown. Mysterious Maze is also incredibly powerful. If you walk through a door, there's a small chance that you will appear through another door, so you can teleport across the map, even as a crewmate, and everyone's kind of always switching around their places and going, woo, woo, I'm over here, and I'm over here. And at meeting will teleport all of your players to the table at a random point in the match, but there will be no actual meeting. Tasks are repetitive and boring. Now, there aren't that many ways to be able to fix this issue, although I think taking out tasks that take up too much time and people don't like to do, like Simon Says, and downloads, or at least decreasing the amount of time needed. I mean, it's just so boring. I hate doing downloads because you're just sitting there doing nothing. At least the other ones you're clicking, or you're looking at Simon Says, but downloads, you just stand there. At least make it a faster thing, like make it 3 seconds or 4 seconds, not fucking like, wait, what is it now, like 8, 10 seconds? Add more tasks, that's a pretty obvious thing. You should add more tasks if you want more variety of tasks in the game. And add more tasks that can't appear, so maybe every 3 games you might get a specific task that's rare, or like, you know, variety tasks. Like maybe every task isn't always the same. Maybe when you go to a task it's slightly different, or it's a rarer version, or it's a harder version, or it's an easy version. More variety would help out a lot. Crewmates' lack of power. Crewmates can't do anything. Crewmates are basically useless cogs in a machine, and their life hangs in the balance of imposters, which doesn't make it very fun to be crewmate, especially in a random lobby where you don't know anyone and you're just trying to play the game and you don't get imposter and you leave. So, as crewmate, give them a little bit more power. Sus points. When passing someone who's sus, you can ping them. Basically, at the end of every meeting, the person with the most pings, or the most sus points, is shown. So everyone knows the person that has been pinged the most. Everyone's like, well, this guy's a bit suspicious. So if you walk past someone who was walking weird, and you just ping them, you go, hey, he was sus, and if a lot of other people find them sus, maybe next meeting you'll keep an eye on that person. Then you press the panic button, it will spawn an exclamation mark above all players in a range. This means it won't point them to exactly where you are, but it will notify them that somewhere near you are in trouble. You are going to get killed. You have seen something, you have seen a murder, you're getting chased, or maybe you are locked in a room. Basically, you keep pinging people and going, help, help, help me, help. So players might look around to make sure that you're not alone, and that you're not alone with this, you know, imposter, this sus red. And something I think that should just be added to the game is items. To counteract the true impossibility of imposters just murdering you without anything, items will spawn in boxes placed around the map. Now, there will be a limited amount of boxes, so that means that not every player will have an item. Now, also, here's the thing, imposters can also pick up items, so they can go around picking up items, making sure no one else can get them. Flashlights will allow you to see better in blackouts. When the lights turn off, you will have a cone vision like you had a flashlight. It is a one-time use, however. A repair kit is an open a locked door, so also a one-time use. So you can use this to get away from an imposter, or to just go to a different room if you're locked out. Heavy armor allows you to survive one kill attempt. So you're not noticed, you don't notice them try to kill you. It's not stackable, so you can't have like 3 of them and survive 3. It's a one-time use, and you can only use it once per game. Light speed shoes increases your speed for a short while. You know, again, one-time use. A dummy will create a still clone of you that can waste an imposter's kill cooldown. If you use this at the right time, you can place this dummy on top of you, which means that the imposter will kill the dummy instead of you, because the dummy is, you know, in front of you. Poggers? This will force imposters to think a bit more, because otherwise they'll just be sus. And an Invisinizer, which allows you to be invisible for like 2 seconds. Allowing you to, like, yeah, it can be used by imposters, it can also be used by crewmates to escape imposters, all that jazz. Now we get to the fun part, lack of roles. I, in my hand here, have 4 neutral roles and 4 imposter roles. I don't think there should be any more crewmate roles. I think crewmate is, you know, a crewmate, but a neutral is basically someone that doesn't want to hurt the crewmates, but wants to do something for their own gain. You'll see what. The hacker role is neutral. It only wins if crewmates wins by tasks. If they win by shooting out the imposters, the hacker loses. And if the imposters win, the hacker also loses. The hacker has less tasks than the average crewmate. However, when all of their tasks are done, they can now do other people's tasks, meaning that they can speed up the task process like 10 times quicker. The general is also a neutral role. This wins by an early vote out. Basically, after a certain period of time, if all of the imposters haven't been voted out, then you can't win. However, you get double votes until you are voted for, but you have also more tasks. Detective, neutral. You've seen a lot of mods about this. They only win if they kill the last imposter, and they can kill anyone. They have a gun, they can shoot anyone, imposters or crewmates. However, if they kill a crewmate or another neutral role, they also die. And then we have the vigilante, which is also neutral, and this wins if they are never voted. They can see footsteps, so they can see who's been where. They can also see in the dark, similar to imposters, but they can't report dead bodies. And now on to the imposter roles. The infected imposter can place eggs that grow slowly into new vents, allowing them to use them to go into places where there aren't any vents. However, the eggs can be dismantled by anyone, crewmates or imposters. If someone finds your egg, they can dismantle it, causing you to not have it anymore. You have a longer kill cooldown, but your kill cooldown and your egg cooldown both do count down while you're in a vent. However, just incredibly slowly. The chameleon imposter can change color and name to a victim for a few seconds, like the morph mod that just came out. I actually made this before the morph mod, and I was like, hey, that's cool, that's kind of like my idea. However, the chameleon can no longer go into vents, but they can't be seen on cameras. The hungry imposter. Every kill decreases their kill cooldown. However, they can't sabotage, and the longer you go without killing, the hungrier you get, until you insta-kill anyone in range, causing you to kill in front of a crowd. Then we have the magician imposter, which can teleport instead of using vents, so you can teleport anywhere on the map, but you have a longer kill animation. You can't vote, meaning that whoever gets voted for the most, whether it be Skip or a specific person, you will auto-vote for them. If the votes are tied, you will just vote Skip. You cannot choose where your vote goes. But you can also teleport victims, although there are signs that a victim has been teleported. So if someone finds a body and doesn't pay close enough attention, they will go, hey, the body was in electrical when they were killed in, I don't know, in cafeteria. But if you do pay attention, you can see some kind of markings that the body has been teleported, meaning that they weren't killed there. And those are my ideas. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you've already subscribed before I started saying this, big thumbs up, welcome to the family. And if you're subscribing now out of guilt, we will judge you. But we will also welcome you to the family, so come on down to the Discord if you want to hang out. A bunch of beautiful people over there, a bunch of cool artists, a bunch of cool, like, everyone there is cool. I've met a bunch of my new friends there, like, everyone there is just nice, cool, chill. It's a great place. And of course, like I said, supporting me would mean a lot. Liking this video means that you want to see more, or you want me to succeed like I do. I want to succeed, please. And of course, if you're watching right to the end, that means you get a golden DecoyZ for your efforts. Now go out there and have fun. I'll see you anomalies in the next video and in the next life, and if I don't catch you then, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye bye!